Hörmətli iştirakçılar, lütfen yerlerinize yerləşin. Biz sessiyalara devam edirik. Ladies and gentlemen, we kindly ask you to take your seats. Now we'll start second panel session. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, our second session is about champions of the halal industry, driving innovation, trust, and global growth. The session will showcase practical experiences and lessons from leading halal companies and institutions that are successfully driving growth across international markets. Moderating the session is Dr. Muhammad Al-Mekraoui, Managing Director, Halal Products Advisory, Halal Products Development Company, HPDC. Please welcome. Joining him on stage, please welcome Mr. Ali Masrai, Pladis Global Saudi Arabia. Please welcome. Ms. Diana Sabrin, Chief Executive Officer, OneAgrix Singapore. Mr. Raja Badrul Nizam, Senior Director, Malaysia External Trade Development Corporation. Dr. Amira El Fadil, Head of Partnerships and International Cooperation Sector, ISESCO, Morocco. So, dear friends, please joining us welcoming our distinguished moderator and panelists. Dr. Muhammad, the floor is yours. Thank you.
بسم الله بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. Esteemed panelists, dear guests, dear attendants, I'm very happy today to be joining the Halal Economy Leadership Forum. I would say the fourth Halal Economy Leadership Forum, inaugurated in 2023 with IDB team. Just to give some history about our event, and inshallah it will grow, and we are working with our partners, IDB, Kuala Lumpur, and HDC as well, and all the partners like Ashab, in particularly in Azerbaijan, and other countries as well. So Halal Economy Leadership Forum, we wanted it to be really a platform to discuss between the operations, the industry, the regulators, etc., and to enhance the halal economy in the OIC countries. So just to give some logistics at the beginning, I will be making small introduction to refresh some ideas about the halal economy, then present the panelist bio, then we will have like questions and maybe 2-3 minutes for each answers, and at the end we'll have like audience question, and we will close the session within 1 hour and 15 minutes, inshallah, from now. I want to start by introducing our panelists first, then I will go to the introduction. I have today, we are honored to have 4 distinguished panelists. On my left hand, Mr. Ali Al-Masra'i. He is factory director at Pladis. Pladis Group, it's an international company, a global company in confectionery owned by Yildiz Group, which is a Turkish group. And we are proud to have them today with us, because really we want why the session is called Champions of the Halal Industry Driving Innovation, Trust and Global Growth. We want these champions to come here and to discuss, to give their history, their best practices, etc. So Mr. Ali Al-Masra'i comes from this background. He has been working 18 years in such businesses and industry across the MENA region, the Gulf states, North Africa, India. I have as well Ms. Diana Sabrin. She's the CEO and co-founder of Wanagrix. Now Wanagrix since 2018 started, and it's a technology platform to enhance the cross-border trade and the intra-trade between OIC countries. So we are happy to have her amongst our panelists. We have Mr. Raja Badrul Zaman. He's from Matrade, a senior director in Matrade. He has been enhancing the trade and exports for Malaysian company, and he have been appointed in many regions, like in Europe, in ASEAN as well, and he's now leading the strategy policy for Matrade. I have at the end Dr. Amira Al-Fadl. She is from ICISCO, and this is to have a diversified panelists. So ICISCO, it stands for Islamic Culture, Science and Education Cooperation Organization, which is a fundamental to enhance from a back-end point of view the culture, the education, the science, because halal, when we speak about halal, it's not only compliance, and we will say this later on, inshallah. So Dr. Amira is a senior leader with over 3 decades of experience across government, local or international organizations. She is focused, she was working with the African Union. She's also advisor to ICISCO Director General of Partnership and International Cooperation. She brings a deep experience in social and health policy and entrepreneurship as well. She as well worked as a minister in Sudanese government previously. So welcome to our distinguished panelists. To come back to our theme today, which is the champions of halal economy, we wanted it just to mention that halal economy, and this was mentioned at the beginning, it represents trillions of US dollar in terms of consumer spend. This market is an opportunity as well for investors, for government, and for development, and particularly for Muslim countries that are importing their main items from abroad. So the champions can be government or private sector as well. We have champions in the regulation, in the ecosystem building. Malaysia is one of them, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Turkey. They are leading the halal economy globally. But at the same time, we have private companies like Yildiz, like Pladis Group or Wanagrix. They are leading or giving best practices and giving leadership in this industry. So to make it very short, so these champions will give us today their best practices and their insights about halal economy development in the OIC countries. And sorry for being a little bit late in my introduction, but we'll start with Dr. Amira and Brother Raja about government champions and organization champions in the Islamic economy or halal economy, and wanted to ask Dr. Amira particularly, as ICISCO core role is to promote the cooperation among member states in the education and science, culture and communication. They support the development and they strengthen the cultural identity of the Islamic world. So I want her to tell us about the halal or Islamic economy and entrepreneurship in the policy and in the strategy of ICISCO. How this could, I would say, push the halal economy to be more resilient, to be more effective, more efficient. تفضلي دكتورة.
Thank you. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you very much, our moderator, Dr. Muhammad. At the beginning, allow me to bring the greetings of His Excellency, Dr. Salim Al-Malik, Director General of ICISCO, and to give my thanks on his behalf to the Islamic Development Bank and also to the host country, Azerbaijan, the government, and the people of this country. Thank you very much for inviting us as ICISCO. When we talk about halal industry, I can say that halal industry is a very big economic opportunity for the Islamic world and the Islamic countries. Us at ICISCO, our members are 54 member states, and we have now many non-Muslim countries having the status of observers at ICISCO. Having this big membership with our member states and the governments of member states, we are looking for opportunities to enhance and to make sure that we are participating as ICISCO in finding more opportunities for our youth in the Islamic countries. We are looking for how to empower the youth, how to empower the women, how to use the three main pillars and objectives of ICISCO in education, culture, and science to make sure that we will have a bigger role as ICISCO. What we did in the last 4 years is we have entered heavily in this area of halal industry. And the leading sector at ICISCO in this halal industry is a sector of science and technology. They are the one leading, and in collaboration with education and culture. And when we look to halal industry from a cultural perspective, we know that it is driven by our values as Muslims, by our cultures, and that's how we created out of this culture this area of halal industry. So us as ICISCO, as a sister organization to the Islamic Development Bank, and currently in the pipeline, there is a memorandum of understanding that's supposed to be signed by the two organizations. Inshallah, shortly we will sign it. And one of the main projects is how to work together on enhancing and increasing the opportunities in halal industry. What we did since 2022 is we worked through our sector of education. We had many meetings with our ministerial committee. It is being introduced to our ministers of education. We are working in many member states on having workshops, training programs, and also to make sure that they know when we speak about halal industry, what do we mean by halal industry? What are the leading entities and organizations in halal industry? How to raise the awareness of our governments and our public and NGOs, how to make sure that we disseminate the culture of halal industry. So ICISCO is doing this in many countries. We have managed to organize many events in Morocco and in other member states. We targeted government institutions in the countries, and at the same time, we always include the private sector. And let me here also give my thanks to the private sector, that we are working closely with private sector, and we are working with NGOs in our member states.
Thank you very much, Dr. Amira. My other question will be, so I will alternate, one is from government, one from private sector. My other question will be to Mr. Ali, and together with Diana will be the same questions. They will tell us about their experience in developing their companies around anchored about halal. So Pladis Global is a very important company that owns Godiva, that owns McVitie's, that owns Ulker, and they are, Mr. Ali will tell us how do they operate, but it's very important to know how this company grows from an angle, from a halal angle. So, Mr. Ali, can you tell us how your company built the strong halal management system across your all entities, factories around the world? And I will ask you later maybe about the challenges as well. Then this is a very important point that companies face in day-to-day operation, because generally speaking, halal, it's not only compliance, it's supply chain, it's quality management, it's all of this. Can you tell us the experience of Pladis Global in the space of halal industry, please? Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you, Dr. Muhammad, for invitation. I'm going to just give some insight about Yildiz Holding Group. Yildiz Holding is actually heritage. They started 1944. And the Pladis Global Company is actually part of the Yildiz Holding, which is leading in snacks, biscuit and chocolate. Pladis Global is the second leading snacking biscuit company in the world, and seventh in confectionery sector. We have around 33 manufacturing facilities across the globe. It's around 11 countries in the world. When we have this much of the complexity, manufacturer, raw material, processes, always there is a challenge, and there is huge work that we need to do to make sure about implementing halal compliance system. When we talk about our best practice, how we implemented halal system in our organizations, actually Yildiz Holding, they own the standards. They build good standard in line with each country regulations, but the standard is beyond the regulations that we have in each country. So when we started, firstly in Bloodis Global, they done gap assessment. Gap assessment means to understand the current situation in each manufacturing facility, to understand in terms of the gaps that we have in selecting of raw material, processes in the manufacturer, in product design, and also in the supply chain values. So to implement all these steps, we went with developing a committee in every facilities. So when we talk about committee, the committee is having clear role and responsibility in terms of halal implementation. So it's starting from product design, because when we deal with food product, there is a different function and role and responsibility. So starting from product design. When we start with product design, we need to make sure that halal requirement is embedded into the product design. So not only about food safety and the quality assurance, because quality and food safety also a system, but halal also embedded with the system in the organization. So when they start with product development, they will make sure we meet all the requirement for product specification, and then we will select the right product or suppliers for raw material and packaging. That is, the main challenge that we have actually when we selecting the supplier, to make sure there is no cross-contamination. And then we will, to make sure the implementation that we have in the facilities, working as per the requirement, we have audit system and training to the people, which is having continuous improvement, like review the current situation, the system that we have, train the people, putting the corrective action in place to make sure we implement the halal system. Overall, halal system is not only about compliance, it is trust to the consumer, because people maybe they think that, especially when we implemented in Saudi Arabia, because we have two facilities in Saudi Arabia with Bloodis Global, which having McVitie's brand, Godiva chocolate, and also Olker brand. When we started, always they think that halal actually it is available in Saudi Arabia, but it's not limited with this concept. It is about culture, about the system that we implemented to make sure we develop each and every process, starting from selecting the raw material until the shipment to consumer.
MashaAllah. Just a follow-up question on what you mentioned. How did you manage to get all these regulations? For example, are you using CIMIC? Are you using GSO? Are you using Malaysia standard? How do you achieve this, I would say, performance in terms of halal management systems, integrating a lot of standards together? How did you manage this?
Yeah, good question, Dr. Mohammed. Actually, when they set the standard, they done like harmonization between each country regulations. So in Saudi Arabia and GCC countries, we follow GSO standards. But when they built the standard of halal system related to Yildiz Holding, which cascaded to Bladis Global, that coming actually beyond our regulations, because you have to go beyond to make sure that not just to meet the minimum requirement. So to close all these supply chain values, you have to make sure that all the system is implemented based on each country regulation, but you have to go beyond. So this is one of the things that we've done actually in terms of harmonization.
Okay, thank you very much, Ali, for these very wonderful insights. I will go now to Brother Raja Badrul to speak about the Malaysian, I would say, experience. Malaysia have been in this space of halal since decades now. Just wanted to know how Malaysia enhanced the halal industry from an ecosystem building, from a transformation of the whole halal industry, not only from compliance perspective, but from your point of view about supporting trade, supporting exports, etc., investment as well. How Malaysia did, what's the best, I would say, lesson that our audience can get from this?
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Very good morning, everyone. Before I answer your question, Dr. Muhammad, I would like to say a big thank you to the host government, Azerbaijan, for hosting this forum and for a warm welcome at the airport yesterday. And also to ISDB for inviting me, and HTC, your partner, for inviting Martrade to be one of the panelists today. And also my best wishes to all my fellow panelists. So I come from the government of Malaysia. I represent the National Trade Promotion Body of Malaysia, probably a similar one have in many countries as well. When the government of Malaysia started to think about halal, it started mostly from the domestic front. What changed that was the need for us to see how halal needs to expand abroad. We have a very small market in Malaysia, about 34 million. That time we started in 1980s, it's still about 20, probably less, 22 million. So we had as a support of the private sector as well. So it's basically started from the political will of the government, who decides that we should have a good halal policy framework. And right now we have the Halal Master Plan 2030. So that's provide the direction for the Malaysia economy to go into halal. So we have a Halal Master Plan for 5 years. And that brings all together the government, who is in charge for halal development, HDC, Martrade, the standards body, the food authorities, and also the regulatory bodies, and also the private sector, the logistics department, the company that produce the halal product and so on, to the point, for example, now Nestle, which is among the biggest food companies in the world, has chosen Malaysia as the global halal center. And that's a good recognition for us, because they trust on the ecosystem that we have, they trust on the stability of the government, the policy itself, but also the governance, because halal is all about trust and governance. Without the right policies on hand, I don't think we can have that confidence, people to know halal products coming from each country. Secondly, so we develop, for example, the title says global growth. From there, we expand our products, our services into the global market. And how do we do that? I think 2004, we started to we organized the Malaysia International Halal Showcase, which has now become the largest halal showcase in the world. 14 clusters, it's been running for the last 20 over years, now we're 22nd years. So we won the Guinness record for the largest in terms of halal show in any place in the world. So from that point, we bring in buyers. Last year, Mihas brought in 40 countries in the Halal exhibition and 300 buyers from over the world. We have the advantage of having 47 offices around the world. So we leveraged on that to bring the buyers to Malaysia and organize business meeting. Of the 300 buyers, especially 50 was online. Out of the 300 buyers that physically attended, 50 buyers are premium buyers from Walmart, Tesco, Carrefour, so come to Malaysia to meet them. And the other phase of our global growth and to bring Malaysia products overseas was to work with international organizations. We work closely with ISDB under River Linkage program. I think Brother Aminuddin was one who really pushed for that. So through the River Linkage program, we got connected with many OIC countries who wanted to learn expertise from Malaysia. So we reached a point where countries relies on Malaysian expertise export, or some of it, and we have the advantage of having JAKIM, which is one of the world's high standards, halal standard certification and so on. We also have our ISO MS 15000, which is halal standard at the ISO level. So through ISDB, we have a company called Surunai E-Commerce. We provide digital solutions to halal verification certification. Now they're operating in, I think, many countries, more than 50 countries. They have 50,000 products line under the certification. What they do provide systems to verify halal, and they are certified with 33 countries. So the success of Malaysia export is, first, the government produced the ecosystem, the right ecosystem for all the exporters to grow through training, through market access, through our 47 global offices, as well as collaboration with international organizations such as ISDB, River Linkage, and also probably other organizations as well. So behind this is a strong governance of Malaysia, good export policy, but also MIHAS, the Halal Showcase, the world largest Halal Showcase, that basically catalyst and promote and boost the image and presence of Malaysian globally overseas for halal product and services. So it's basically a private-public sector collaboration at the national, international, and international organizational level.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Brother Roger. And my question now to Sister Diana Sabrin, who is leading WannaGreeks, which is, I mentioned, a platform for trade, cross-border trade, and facilitating the halal trade globally. So she will give, inshallah, us their experience in terms of developing the platform, what are the challenges, and how WannaGreeks could enhance the intra-OIC trade, the intra-OIC halal goods and halal trade. Please.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Thank you for the invitation, Dr. Muhammad Ali, to HPDC and ISDB. Okay, so WannaGreeks, we bring a different lens than all the panelists here. We are a technology company. So we started off as a B2B platform in faith-based and values-governed economy. And values-governed meaning halal, vegan, kosher. And it's not just food, but also food ingredients, and also consumer goods supply chain. Now, we proved the demand ourselves. So over the years, we have signed around 1 billion in sales purchase agreement and over 3 billion in letter of intent. And this is the trade flows that we are seeing. And but one conviction changed everything. Integrity cannot be claimed. It needs to be verified. So over this billion-dollar trade flow, we realized that there's a broken system. And, you can't just, a certificate cannot be checked across borders. So you need to actually have a verification system. So I'll share a little bit more. So when the global disruption happened, and you have Straits of Hormuz that's closed down, you have also the pandemic, and then the Russian-Ukraine war and multiplex of war, what we realized that it's not a demand issue, it is actually a trust issue. And with that, what we realized that one certification body could not be recognized very quickly, very immediately at another country. So that's the gap. Now, everyone for the past 20 years in the halal sector has been talking about certification, harmonization, standards. But where is the trade flows? No one is asking the questions about regulations. Maybe Pladis, yes. I mean, you guys are a big company, so I recognize that you actually have a very embedded system, which is very admirable. And also, what we actually realized that when we do not certify at OneAgrix, we realize that we need to put the platform aside and build a verification layer. So right now, what we do is we trace products through the supply chain. We ran a pioneering halal, I think Dr. Muhammad Ali are aware, DNA traceability pilot in the world. We moved using DNA traceability anti-counterfeiting sterilization from the UK to the UAE. So we did that, and what we proved that integrity was just not on paper, but at the molecular level. And I think that is really necessary, especially when you see food safety is decreasing in halal, and halal fraud is also increasing. Now, today, OneAgrix, we run a live infrastructure across 35 jurisdictions. We filed for patent. We are patent pending with the US Patent Office. And what we envision is to govern halal, kosher, and vegan as one system. It overlaps. I will share why it's necessary for OIC trade, and so that we can realize the $1 trillion industry. Now, unpopular view, but Kissinger ever said that who controls food controls people. Now, this is not how the Islamic world works. We do not control, we work together. So it's more of, who verifies the food supply, we protect the people. And I think halal needs safeguarding.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes. Just a follow-up question, Diana, on this. Just a very simple word. What's OneAgrix, so the audience can understand?
So basically, we are a trade desk terminal. We have evolved into an agentic AI native terminal. So we no longer just match buyers and suppliers together. We provide real...
So buyer and supplier?
Buyers, suppliers,
yeah.
B2B together. Yeah. We work also with governments in terms of their food security plan for faith-based.
Okay.
And recently, we have requests to run simulations, especially when Strait of Hormuz happened. What happened is there are a few hundred shipments that's being stuck. Now, intergovernmental trades are also affected. And so, I have a request now next week in Ghana to sit down together with the selective African countries to see, okay, can we run a simulation so that we are prepared so that this won't happen again?
Inshallah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Going back to Dr. Amira again, about the ICISCO plan and challenges with regards to developing, can you give the mic to Dr. Amira, please? ICISCO plan, challenges, or ICISCO faced the challenges in developing, like you said, the awareness, the education, the science projects, etc. What are these kind of challenges, and how ICISCO, you mentioned the partnership with IDB that will enhance this, inshallah. So how ICISCO is planning to get rid of all these challenges, inshallah?
Thank you very much again, Dr. Muhammad. I think the panelists here, they mentioned the word trust, yeah. And as a main pillar in this halal industry. And when we talk about trust, we talk about the consumers. Yeah. And when how can we gain the trust of the consumers? It means the consumers, they need to be informed about the certification, the standardization, the marketing, the investments in this halal industry. How can they trust the products that's coming out of it? And when we talk about that, we see that ourselves as ICISCO having national committee in every member state, and most of these national committees are under the ministries of education. So it is a big opportunity for us as ICISCO to play a role. When you speak our partners, especially in science and technology, and the work we did in the artificial intelligence area, and the big connections we have and the networks we have, we think we can play also a role in having more innovations in this area of halal industry. But at the same time, while saying that, what roles can be played by ICISCO, I can say that there is challenges. And when you speak about challenges, the first challenge that comes to us is how hard is the coordination and the cooperation between the different countries. And we are working on that. We are working on bringing together our different member states so they can align themselves, they can have the standardization that's needed. They can align their legislations, because when we talk about halal industry, when we speak about the roles of governments, we need to speak about legislations. How are we going to have the legislations in each country? How this legislations is going to be aligned with the regional and the international measures? What leading ministries within each country that can work on this issue. This is the main challenge for us, is how to enhance the collaboration and the coordination between member states. The second obstacle or a challenge is always the financial resources. Although ICISCO is an intergovernmental organization, there's contributions from member states, but unfortunately, many of our member states in Africa, in other regions, they suffer from internal conflicts, they have problems, they have financial constraints, so they are not paying their contributions fully, or some of them they are paying partially. So these are the two main challenges from ICISCO side, but I think the two challenges can be overcome by having more partners on board, having partners from the private sector that can join their efforts. What we do as ICISCO can be complemented by other partners in the sector. My last point is looking into what ICISCO did and looking into the literature of this halal industry. I think still we need to have a global understanding of this halal industry. And we need to make sure that when we speak about halal industry, we are not just talking to ourselves. We are talking to ourselves and we are talking to the others to understand what do we mean by halal industry. Even within our Muslim countries, what do we need to understand, and the measures that need to be implemented, and the dissemination of the information, and how we can make opportunities out of this halal industry, especially, as I mentioned earlier, to the small and medium enterprises, to the women and to the youth in our countries, and how to support them, how to help them, not only by the governments, but by the governments and by the private sector in each country. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Amira. The organizers are telling me to end the panelists within 5 to 7 minutes. So I will give 1 minute to each to give us the most important recommendation. Mr. Brother Raja will give us some maybe champions from Malaysia as well. And Brother Ali and Sister Diana will give us what's their plan in the future in developing the halal ecosystem and halal products. Please, Brother Raja.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ali. If I get your question correct, we got another 1 minute to wrap up. Okay, basically, I think most important, in line with the theme global growth, most importantly, everybody has to think global from the start. Think about the global market. It's a 3.5 trillion US dollars market outside there. It's going to be 5 trillion by 2030. So it's a big, huge halal market. So everyone have to really prepare your SMEs, prepare the right regulations, and enhance private and public partnerships. And then halal certification is important, but is beyond halal certification. You have to understand the import regulation, product standards, labeling and testing in the market. So we are, Matrade itself, preparing the SMEs to understand all these challenges by educating them about the challenges market. We provide, through our 47 offices, the market intelligence and market entry requirements for halal in this market. And the last three is you got to understand market-specific requirements. It's no point, preparing a products, but you cannot sell because you don't understand what products have been sold. So our officers prepare them to understand exactly what products are being demanded in the market through our 47 offices and also through our SGB, a working relationship in the under river linkages. You got to meet the local requirements for cosmetic regulation for food safety and standards. And the last two, you cannot run away from ESG. I think that's a very important thing. More people are now be aware of ethical purchasing consumer. Halal is well placed to promote that, and then all the standards that we have halal to be encompassing, meeting HACCP and also I think Toiban or something like that, where it's wholesome kind of regulation and so on. And finally, that goes without saying, in any export business, especially for market, global growth, innovation and trust, you got to focus on quality and consistency. So you got to allow the industry to grow with support, reliability, trust, and also with the right certification standards. So I think that's very important, the 5 things I want to share with the audience on that.
Thank you very much, Brother Raja. Please, Diana. Yeah, please. Brother Ali, just your recommendation, your future plan about Yildiz Group and Pladis Global. What are your plans, and how do you advise SMEs in the Muslim world to anchor their initiatives and their projects from the beginning around halal management system?
Thank you, Dr. Mohammed. From Pladis, actually, we started, working some development, especially in sustainability packaging recycling, because also packaging sustainability recycling, one of the things that related to halal ecosystem. So we are putting some plan for next 3 years in terms of addressing these things. The second things also, we are doing some innovation in removing some coloring in the product or raw material to make it more natural. So that it's helping us to be more halal compliance. And also in terms of digitalization, that now most of the the companies going with the AI, so we have to use AI digitalization platform to support us on addressing and implementation the halal system to make it more sustainable and more integrated and trusted with all other sectors, either in government or private sector.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah. A good point mentioned, Brother Ali, now about finding alternatives to the coloring, which is the ingredient, which is the main essence of the food industry, is the ingredient, the halal ingredient. This is a very important point, and private sector could do this to enhance the halal production, the halal industry. My last question to Sister Diana is about WANAGRICS. How to convince now halal industry players to come to WANAGRICS and list their product, and what's your plan to attract them in the future, inshallah, and what's the requirement?
Okay, so for me, we come with a very practical view. Just now I shared that WANAGRICS over the years we have signed 1 billion worth of sales agreement and 3 billion in letter of intent. Now, what I'm trying to encourage everyone in this room and the OIC countries here is that numbers are not becoming, it's already here. So now we are based in Zurich, and what I did, and this is very practical, and I want to spend about a minute to explain. When I went to Paris last week, and I was very surprised to see many halal establishments growing, and not just the regular kebab stores that you see in Europe, or Muslims, we have to eat filet o fish, right? But now there is a growing increase in Parisian halal food, and they are not fusion and really Parisian. I managed to speak to the owner, and she said that this is the exact opportunity. Within, I think, 2 years, they have opened now 3 shops and counting.
MashaAllah.
It was really amazing. I encourage you guys to go. It's called Maison Bayat in Paris. And then what I did was, I traveled again to Evian, and I was so surprised to find a whole in a mainstream supermarket, a whole fridge of halal products.
MashaAllah.
So it's no longer just specialty stores. And this is what I'm trying to say for the OIC countries. You have the opportunity here to actually grow. And then statistics which I will read from here. The North American halal market alone is around $100 billion. And it's set to double within the decade. Europe have close to 60 million Muslim consumers by 2030. So for One Agrics, our plan is in 2 directions. We want to deepen trade between OIC members through governed corridors. This is where we can facilitate trade, packaging, like what Brother Ali has said, regulations, ingredients. These are all the requirements that EU requires for successful trade. And with that, also, we have to also look at traceability. Traceability is not only for sustainability. I think, the whole industry has been talking about sustainability, but it's actually also food safety. We also talk about food security. So this is what I would encourage the SMEs and the bigger players also. There's room for expansion across the West. So not only about feeding the OIC, there's opportunity to actually, contribute to the GDP of all the countries by exports.
Okay.
Thank you.
Very much. I will give 30 seconds to each of the panelists just to give a last word and the last recommendation, not to make them frustrated because of the short in time. Please,
Thank you.
Dr. Amira, 30 seconds for each.
Yeah, my last word is that it's good opportunity that the Islamic Bank is having this as a main theme for this meeting. I think what we need a clear dividing of the roles. What is needed from the governments, what is needed from the private sector, what is needed from NGOs. If we divide the roles very clearly, maybe the bank itself can lead on this issue to have experts, and I'm sure that the bank have the expert to give us, or at least to have a roadmap. Where are we going on this road of halal industry, and to have our roles defined and the requirements from member states also to be defined very clearly.
Okay.
Thank you again on behalf of ICISCO.
Yeah, Brother Raja, 30 seconds.
Thank you so much. Again, the most important thing about halal is a 3.5 trillion US dollar market over there. It's going to be 5 trillion in 2030. So most importantly, both the government sector providing guidance, ecosystem security assurances on certification, as well as the private sector should work together in partnership, both at the national level and international level. That's the way to move forward. And we have to maintain the integrity and the credibility of the halal system, food products, services as well, not just within OIC countries, but also outside OIC countries, because they buy halal products, not because it's halal, but because it's safe, it's quality, it's consistent.
Thank you. Diana, 30 seconds, please, to finish.
Okay, so basically, do not wait for a perfect timing to scale. I think a lot of companies, SMEs, think that they need to wait to scale. So I would say, do not wait for perfect. Leverage on technology. I think in history of mankind, right now we can see technology actually helps you accelerate your growth. So
Yeah,
that's my 30 seconds.
Thank you, Ali. Just 30 seconds, your recommendation?
My recommendation is, especially for halal, it has to be integrated with the strategy of any business.
Yeah.
Because if it is not embedded within the strategy of the business, I think
will
we will
fail.
not go far and implement our, ecosystem of halal.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much. Just as a summary, if the organizer allow me just 1 minute to make a summary and takeaways for the audience about our session today. From Ali, we learned about the best practices, and he mentioned the integration of the halal system across many factories are very important. The product development. From Diana, we learned that technology and these platforms are an enhancing point of view for trade. From Malaysian experience, not only the certification, but the export support from the government and the wide spread of trade across the globe is pushing these exports. From ICISCO, we learned that cooperation between stakeholders, in particular from IDB and other stakeholders, could enhance the halal industry and could create new champions of halal industry and participate to the growth and development of the OIC countries. I would like at the end to thank the organizer, Azhab Forum as host, IDB, HDC, and all the stakeholders that participated to have a successful event. I would like to thank our panelists as well for joining us, and see you inshallah next year, probably in Jeddah. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you to all our panelists and moderator. Please remain on stage for a group photo. Hemkarlarımızdan xahiş eləyək. Thank you. By the time we would like to inform you, we now break for lunch and networking. The afternoon program will resume promptly after hour and 15 minutes. We have hour and 15 minutes for lunch. After we'll meet again. Thank you.